Yo, 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 what it do? What it be? It's your boy Agent A&T, repping the Spell Block Agency Game Gang. You know we don't play none of that shit. All that shit. So here we go. Welcome to my studio. This is motherfucking Spell Block HQ and all that. You know, got my notebooks lined up. So, you know, if sounds like I'm reading off a script sometimes, guess what? I am. But, you know, I got my Funkos in the background, got my Pikachu, my Pokemon, all that. Got my Sabu in the background. Shout out my guy. But today we gonna be talking about Al Capone and all that. And I mean, he the OG, the original Scarface, y'all. He's the most infamous, powerful mobster of the Prohibition area, arguably of all time, and it's gonna be Al Capone. Al Capone's family was one of the many families who migrated to America in the early 1900s, and they settled in Brooklyn, New York, where Al was born and where he would eventually get the nickname Scarface, like I was just talking about. While working as a doorman in 1923 for a saloon called the Harvard Inn. And see, I said 1923, but keep in mind it might be earlier than that, and you'll see why I say that here in a minute. So, but he worked for a saloon called the Harvard Inn, and he attempted to flirt with a woman by saying she had a nice posterior, and understandably she was insulted at this remark, and her brother Frank Galluccio slashed him on the left side of his face, giving him permanent scars. You know, but Al Capone hated the nickname Scarface, despite how popular it is today, and everything that, and how the great movie that Al Pacino portrayed that had nothing to do with Al Pacino, even though it was a remake, but it was like a modern remake, but it was still dope. Don't get me wrong, but the man himself, Al Capone, did not like that nickname. Whenever he was asked about it, he said it was, war scars, so people wouldn't ask about it, or he wanted to be pictured, or when his picture was taken, he liked to be photographed on like the right side of his face, so people wouldn't see him, So his closest friends actually called him Snorky, which was, slang back in those days for a sharp dresser. But, that's a funny name, Snorky. Hey, what up, Snorky? Anyway, working for the Harvard Inn gave him his infamous nickname, but it also introduced him to his mentors, Frankie Yale and Johnny Torrio. When Johnny Torrio was hired by Big Jim Colosimo in 1919, Johnny Torrio invited Capone to come to Chicago with him, and the rest is history. Now, I don't know exactly when. You could probably do more research. I just didn't. I don't know exactly when Capone moved to Chicago. I don't know if it was before 1923 when he got those scars. I mean, so I don't. Tough to say when he moved to Chicago and when exactly he got the scars. Gonna have to double check that. I'm almost positive it's 1923, so then that means he must have been either back and forth or he hadn't moved to Chicago until like the end of 1923, maybe the beginning of 1924. But he had to have been in Chicago, and here's why. Big Al Capone started working as a bouncer in the same brothel where he would contract syphilis, and I'll get to more on that later on, but that's going to be really important, so keep that in mind. So on May 11th, 1920, Big Jim was murdered in the lobby of his own restaurant, allegedly by Yale and Capone, but after Big Jim's death, Torrio and Capone essentially took over his rackets. And, then they went balls deep in the bootlegging game, which, they had expressed to Big Jim before they, allegedly murdered him. Hey, we should get into, the bootlegging racket, with people making hand over fist. It's a prohibition, people, and they're coming from New York where, people are literally making money hand over fist from it. They got a whole crime family operating around it. So, And so just another thing to point out is that the mafia never quote unquote sold illegal drugs, or at least that's what they say in this era. But I mean, alcohol was an illegal drug in this time. So I mean, just saying. But um, so they wanted to get into the bootlegging racket. Colosimo was about to get married. He was like, bro, we already making enough money from all this, from what we got going on right now. You know, why mess up a good thing? You know, don't you worry too much. You know, you're too big for your britches, kid. Something like that, I assume. So they was like, nah, fam, we're trying to get this bread, and having this wife and kids made you soft, so we gon' whack you, fam, and we gonna take all your shit. And they went into the bootlegging game, and now they mostly ran an Italian crime organization, but they made agreements with other gangs in the city. And before I get into that, like I said, you know, they killed Big Jim in 1920, so that means he must have been, you know, in Chicago at the time. So for him to get his scars in 1923, that would mean he was going back and forth or something like that. Anyways, like I said, when he went to Chicago and when he got the scars, beats me. I should have did more research. I'm sorry, but like I said, Torrio and Capone ran a mostly Italian crime organization. But then they was making, you know, basically agreements and, you know, truces with other gangs in the city that were already established, you know, kind of like a get down, a lay down situation. Like, we just took over Big Jim's shit, we expanded, so either y'all is with us or y'all are against us, take your pick. So one of these gangs was the Northside Gang, and that was led by Dean O'Banion. Now, O'Banion saw another gang called the Genna Brothers. They had just clicked up with Torrio and them, and then the Genna Brothers started posting up on the Northside Gang's territory, and Torrio let it, you know, Torrio let it slide, you know, instead of trying to politic and squash the beef. So O'Banion and the Northside Gang wasn't rocking with the movement, understandably, you feel me? Because, you know, they see Torrio and Capone making all these chess moves around the city and clicking up and doing this and that, and then the Genna Brothers move in on their territory. And they're like, well, wait a minute. Capone talked to everybody about, you know, everything else. And then these guys move in on our territory. So, I mean, they must be in agreement to, or must not really give a fuck about us. Or they think we pussy. So, you know, that's not going to fly in the mob life. So, like I said, Northside Gang was not rocking with the movement. And because they wasn't rocking with it, Torrio killed O'Banion in front of his flower shop on November 10th, 1924. And that was pretty much a message to tell the Northsiders they could either get down, like I said, or they could lay down, which sparked a war lasting up until 1929. And that culminated in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Again, get to more on that later. But after O'Banion's death, Jaime Weiss, Vincent Drucci, and Bugs Moran, the new leaders of the Northside Gang, of course, wanted to get back on Capone and Torrio. So on January 24th, 1925, the latter three I just mentioned, Moran, Weiss, and Drucci, pulled up to Johnny Torrio's house with a .45 and a shotgun, caught Torrio just as he was getting home shopping. Bugs and Weiss unloaded both weapons into the car, severely injuring him and his chauffeur. Just as Bugs Moran was reloading and gonna walk up on Torrio and finish him, Drucci, who was the driver, honked his horn, and that pretty much was the signal like, hey, whatever you think about doing, you need to hurry up because, you know, we need to go. So he didn't execute him right there, and somehow Torrio survived. I don't know about his chauffeur. I didn't really read too much into that. I do know Torrio survived because after this shooting, he was, of course, shaken up. I mean, he survived, but I mean, of course, you know, someone gets you in front of your crib, you like, whoa, son, like, I might be too deep into the game for what I'm doing. So he handed the whole Northside Gang over to Capone, went on vacation, went back to New York, became a union boss. Kind of keep that in mind. So, after, you know, he handed it over and stuff, it wouldn't be, you know, the last time that they tried to take out, you know, Capone for sure, or, you know, the leader of the outfit, as we'll get to in a second. But Capone Capone would actually get revenge on them, and he would kill Jaime Weiss on October 11th, 1926. Jaime Weiss and his men were spotted outside of a location where a jury selection was taking place for mob boss Joe Saltese. Somehow, Capone's men got the word, allegedly, that they were there, and they set a trap. As Jaime Weiss and 4 of his men got back to their State Street headquarters, Capone's men shot at them with a Thompson and a shotgun from like they were coming into their HQ, and somebody from a window, actually, like they had rented a room or something and were just waiting there at the window for them to walk by, and just started unloading clips. They killed Jaime, but his bodyguards somehow survived, and this came after, like, less than a month after, the Northside gang pretty much rounded up a whole convoy of people and shot up Capone while he was eating dinner. I mean, while civilians were eating dinner as well, they knew where Capone was going to be, and I mean, they took their chance, and they started dumping like blanks at first, so it just made a lot of noise, but nothing got hit, nothing broke. So as people are starting to get up and wonder what the hell is going on, whole nother convoy comes through with real bullets and just dumps at least 1,000 rounds into this restaurant, and miraculously no one is hurt. Or a few people are hurt, no one's killed. Capone pays for everybody's doctor bills, but again, this led to him getting Jaime Weiss outside that jury duty. But I covered Capone's war with Vincent Aiello in the Castellamarese War. Now, I could pronounce Castellamarese, but Vincent Aiello. I cannot. Aiello. I don't know. But so I covered most of that in that video, but I don't think I can really get over the fact that the Northside gang and Aiello at the same exact time were sending assassins every other week to go and get Capone, and most of the times, the guys never even made it to Chicago. Like, there's stories of guys leaving trains to go kill Capone. Capone has already gotten the word, has guys waiting on those trains for those guys. Those guys get killed before the train even leaves. Like, it was nuts back in them times, bro. Like, and that just goes to show, like, even back in those days, like, word spread fast. Like, if word can get from, from Chicago to New York, in time for, to intercept assassins, like, bro, like, you do your information network, and I don't know, they didn't even have cell phones or nothing back in the day. Like, bruh, y'all, they was crazy. But despite waging bloody wars and ruling Chicago's underworld with an iron fist, Capone wanted more than anything to be recognized as a legitimate businessman. And as his illegal ventures and his legal ventures, but his legal ventures were funded by his illegal ventures, and yes, that is money laundering, which is illegal as well. It's hard to overlook that part. And some guys, like I said, in the mafia were able to cross over, and like his, Johnny Torrio got shot, didn't die, retired as a union boss, got to live out the rest of his life, died of whatever natural causes is back in those days. So got to at least live a healthy life. But Capone wasn't going for all that, and it's I think one of the theories is that after his brother Frank Capone died in 1924, he got in a shootout with the police because he thought the police were they were mobsters or something like that, and he got into a shootout with them and he died. Then there's differing stories between what really happened, but that changed Al Capone, with some theorize, and he went from being this quiet life guy to being this flashy mobster, which he had no intent. And granted, if you all powerful and got that kind of power, and you feel untouchable, and no one's fucking with you, would you give that up? I mean, I covered, if you've seen the video, Albert Anastasia. When they took away his power, he would do anything to get it back. He had to get killed for it because he was too power hungry and couldn't lay low. Same thing with Al. He couldn't lay low, but he wasn't power hungry. He already had the power, so why, I'm not going to give it up, and no one's going to tell me I could give it up, you feel me? So, at least not at the time. So, like I said, when you're that high profile of a criminal, man, there's only two ways out of this game: jail or in a box. Especially when you're not willing, to take the high road and to just lay low, play it out for a bit. But no, he was in it till the very end, So, and this is where the IRS had to come into play because, like I said, no one could touch him, but not even local or even federal police couldn't touch Al, and witnesses wouldn't rat. And this is before wiretaps and RICO Act, so they got him the only way they could, evading tax. You feel me? Shout out, my freestyle off the dome crazy. But before they put together the evidence that would put Capone and his top henchmen away, he would orchestrate the most infamous mob hit of all time, arguably. On February 14th, 1929, 4 men dressed as police officers, 2 regular police officers, 2 were plainclothes. They entered a parking garage where the Northside gangsters were waiting for a shipment of bootleg whiskey. It was never going to come because it was just a trap to lure the new boss, because they killed Jaime Weiss, so Bugs Moran took over. So Capone was going to kill Bugs Moran. He was just going, as many leaders as the Northside gang were going to have, he was going to try and knock them all down. That was his biggest threat. They were stealing his booze, stealing his shipments and all that, so they had to go. But they just, kill one. They killed O'Banion, and then 3 popped up. Then they killed Weiss, and then Bugs Moran took over, and they just would not quit. They was applying that pressure no matter what. They wanted that get back in any way they could. So, Al Capone tried to get Bugs Moran, and he orchestrated. He told him, "Hey, there's gonna be a shipment of whiskey," and it was supposed to be Bugs Moran and his top lieutenants coming, but the 4 policemen were actually going to be Capone's hitmen dressed up, like I said. So Bugs Moran, by a stroke of luck, somehow was late to the setup, and then he saw a cop car and fled the scene and escaped fate as Capone's men just slaughtered 7 Northsiders after telling him to face a nearby wall, and this would become known as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. No one would ever be arrested or charged with the slangs, but it was no secret that it was Capone's handiwork. And one interesting thing that I found, one of the suspected shooters, Fred Burke, he was known, like his MO, modus operandi, whatever, he was known to wear police uniforms when he was going on crime sprees. He was actually caught in another crime spree after the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, dressed up as a policeman. I mean, kind of put 2 and 2 together. But he was a famous mob hitman who may have also killed Frankie Yale on Capone's orders as well. Yeah, one of his mentors. Yeah, dirty game, bruh. Found out that Frankie Yale might have been skimming some money off the top, and, he had to go. So, after the massacre, though, to say that there was nationwide heat on organized crime is an understatement. And Capone had caught a case in Philadelphia for a concealed weapon. He wanted to really get caught, but he didn't think they would, throw the book at him, which they did. So he spent a year in jail. He thought it was going to be like a couple months. Nah, fam, they threw the book at him because of who he was. Got him off the street for a year. He was still running shit behind bars, though, classic mob shit. But while he was in jail, I'm sure that he was feeling the walls close in on him, because while he's locked up, Ralph Capone, Jack Guzik, and Frank Nitti all get locked up on tax evasion. And Capone, hearing about this shit in jail, he gotta know he's next. I mean, he gotta know he's next. So Capone tried to clean up his books, open up soup kitchens, anything to clean up his public image. But when the IRS finally put all the pieces together, there was nowhere to run for Big Al. Al, was sentenced to 11 years for tax evasion, and by the time he was set to go in, Frank Nitti was getting out, and he took control of the outfit. And we'll get to him in a future video, but Capone quickly found himself in over his head when he thought he could run Cook County like he did Chirac. Sometime during his prison stay, he got into it with another inmate who thought, Al was receiving special treatment because of who he was, and pretty much got beat up for it. And Al quickly found out he could not bully, like I said, he couldn't bully his way or, boss hog nobody in jail. This is not the streets, bro. There ain't no guns in here, bro. Put them dukes. And so he couldn't do it. And so they moved him from Cook County to Alcatraz. Sometime when he moved from Cook County to Alcatraz, it was discovered that he had syphilis. And not just any kind. It was advanced. Like, it had already climbed up his spine, started eating his brain, and, his mental health was starting to decline noticeably. So, and there's even stories of him, like, literally, like, fishing in his swimming pool, like casting out, putting bait, whole nine, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna catch some fish in the swimming pool. Like, bro was really gone in his last years. So his mental health had declined so much that he was actually granted early release around 1940, and in 1948 Al Capone passed away, leaving behind a legacy that, I don't know, it's often romanticized in films, but it also serves as a warning that nobody is untouchable. Not even Al Capone. Even you could be the biggest mobster, gangster, making the most bread. The IRS gonna come get you for tax evasion because you ain't got no legitimate source of income. One of your homies might kill you because they want your spot. Somebody, a op, you might get caught lacking with your girl. She might give up the other location. Anything is possible when you live that life, and when you have blood feuds in your own city and in your own neighborhood. Like, bruh, keeping your head on the swivel is a must. And even then, you can still go to jail. You riding around hot with guns, still got to do that time for that. Like, and this is a guy who owned police. They said he owned a good portion of the Chicago Police Department. I mean, and for him to not get taken down on no murder, no racketeering, because, like I said, there was no RICO charges. It wasn't wiretapping. Got brought down on tax evasion. Because he didn't keep, Capone himself didn't keep ledgers, but some of his businesses did, and they did it in code. So the IRS found these ledgers and cracked the code. So it's really like Capone was smart enough not to keep a paper trail, but people who have these legitimate businesses, they are going to have to run the books because they have to report if they're making profits or not. You can't just tell Al Capone, hey, here's some bread, here's all the profit we made, and then you not making shit. And you struggling. Well, that classic racketeering shit though. They gonna bleed you dry. But yeah, so I got more of these coming soon. Like I said, more little mob biopics while I'm playing, video games. I got more face videos. Hope y'all like the studio. Like I said, I got all my little nerd knickknacks coming around here. I excuse the mess a little bit. I'm still kind of working things out, but for the most part, this is the HQ and how it's gonna look from now on. If I'm doing live streams, how it's gonna look. If you see me on Twitch, if you don't follow me on Twitch, ANTTHA_ Elevated Gamer. I stream mostly sports games. I'm on Madden and 2K right now doing a season with that. After that, I'll probably do like hockey, baseball, just something, something light, something I can enjoy. I don't play online, just mostly franchise mode, nothing try hard. Got more hot content on here dropping soon. So like I be saying, stay tuned. History in hindsight. Got a what else I got? I got a underground kings and queens lined up around here. I'm just reading off of what I got written. This is the only video I got written down. I just been busy live streaming. I just turned 26 April 2nd. So I've been celebrating that, watching WrestleMania. Probably actually going to do a live stream talking about that, reviewing nights 1 and 2 of that. So like I said, go follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter at ANT_303. You tweeting, you never miss none of my live streams. I tweet all my videos from there because my stuff is hooked up to PS4. So, you know, can just get that Twitter notification and all that. Or if you just, hit that little bell up there, type shit. Up there. There. I don't know where it's at. But there's a bell somewhere on YouTube that you should click when you're on my channel. You feel me? If you don't want to miss none of me rambling and or ranting, about history and stuff like that. Twitch is more about current events and, just personal stuff, really, but more current events and personals. But here's actually my filtered thoughts, if you will. But but if you did like this video, like I said, stay tuned, leave a like, subscribe, all that, comment some of the historical stuff I should cover in the future. I got history, mysteries, and conspiracies, underground kings and queens, history in hindsight. Also a fan of sports, might do more sports and wrestling content soon. So yeah. Also, like I said, podcast, clothing line, merch, all that. Gonna come by the end of this year. Not really sure on a given timeline. I'll keep y'all in tune on that though. But yeah, gonna do more of these face videos. Hope y'all enjoyed this. So got a couple more minutes left, but I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah, been your boy, Agent ANT, repping the motherfucking spell block agency. Yeah, be safe out there, y'all. I've just been playing Fallout 4. I'll be doing a lot more like Fallout, Mortal Kombat gameplays mostly. Maybe until I get far enough in Fallout and switch to another game. I also stopped playing Cyberpunk. I might get back into that, but anyways, yeah. I'm out. Hope y'all enjoyed the last couple minutes of the video, and yeah, stay tuned. Got hot content dropping soon. Peace.